Fat Blasters. Episode 2. Plan for Victory.
Alright, everybody. Welcome back to episode 2 of Fat Blasters. For those of you who haven't seen this series, the purpose really is to show you my weight loss process, give you some helpful tips, maybe even inspire you a little bit if weight loss is something that you want to, try for yourself. In the last video, we did a weigh-in. I weighed 233. My goal is 170. So over the next 8 months or so, I'm going to be aiming to lose 63 pounds. So that's my goal. That was the last video with the weigh-in. And in order to achieve this, which I believe it would be a victory, we need to have a plan. We need to plan for victory. And in this situation, victory for me is getting down to 170, feeling good, feeling better in clothes, being able to move around a little bit better, being more active. So that's my victory. That's what I'm trying to plan for. And in this video, I will share with you sort of my plan for this that I think you could use as well if weight loss is part of your victory or is something that you wish to accomplish. So in order to share with you my plan, the plan has sort of 3 components. It's the VBA plan. Visualize, believe, act. Those are the 3 components of the plan. Visualize, believe, act. Doesn't mean you have to do it in that order. You may want to act, and maybe action helps you believe, and that'll become clearer as we go through this thing here. But visualize, believe, act. Okay, so let's start with the first component, visualize. What you want to do is craft a personalized vision for what victory, health, success looks like to you. It should be fun and exciting to you. For example, I kind of touched on it earlier, but for me, getting down to 170, being lean, having, maybe a 6-pack, that'd be kind of cool, but being a little more trim and strong and feeling better in clothes. I'm at like a 36-inch waist right now, a snug 36. Yeah, we're kind of snug at 36. I'd like to get down to 31, 32 inches, somewhere in there. I know that when I'm fitting in 31-inch jeans, even 30-inch jeans, I'm feeling pretty good and I feel pretty lean. So, and I have the jeans, they're in my closet, so I just got to lose the weight so I can put them back on. But that's part of the visualization. But you can also get more creative and exciting with this. One vision that I always enjoy is running on the beach. Running and beaches are 2 things that sort of intimidate fat people, respectfully. Running isn't always the most comfortable thing when you have excess weight. It can hurt your knees. You can certainly run when you're heavy, but it's a lot easier to run when you're lighter, right? And a beach, sand is great, but the aesthetic of a beach, people taking their shirts off, flexing, being fit, that can be intimidating to fat people. So I think this vision of feeling what it would feel like to run or jog or even just walk shirtless down a beach confidently, that could be part of your vision. It could be you used to rock climb, you got injured, you gained a bunch of weight, you want to get back on the rock wall, you're all healed up, you're ready to go. It could be maybe you want to salsa dance or you want to try a new martial art. Things where weight is kind of getting in the way of that. Maybe you don't feel up to it and you want to lose some weight so it's easier. That could be part of your vision, but you want to craft a vision for yourself. So that's the first step in my VBA plan. We want to be crafting visions that inspire us, that we can think about. Which takes me to my next step. After you've crafted a vision, you want to believe in that vision, and you want to believe in your own ability to take action. So believing is really about how you feel about the vision and the process that you're going to undergo. I can tell you all day long that I believe in the habits I'm going to talk about in a moment. I'm going to share with you 7 habits that I think are super impactful, and I believe in their power. I believe that if I execute on these 7 habits consistently, the results will come because I've seen it. I've lived it myself, so I have absolutely no reason not to believe in the habits. And I also believe that my vision that I crafted, the 170, being lean, being able to run a little bit, being more active, all that stuff, I believe that that's attainable. So belief is a huge part of this. Otherwise, you're going to have fear and doubt creep in. And those will wreck your process. If you're trying to lose weight and you're afraid of what people will think, you're afraid you can't do it, you doubt yourself, you doubt calorie deficits, you doubt all of this stuff, it's not going to work out. There's a very low likelihood of success if you don't believe in what you're setting out to do. So believe. It's crucial, and it's not some cliche thing. It's really a kind of a core requirement in this recipe. You could think of VBA as a recipe for success. You have your vision, you believe in it, you're going to take some action, right? And the action are the habits here, but belief is a core piece. I think it was Henry Ford that said, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. So if you believe you can do it. If you believe you can't, you probably won't. So we want to lock in on belief, and we want to believe in our vision. It may make sense for you to daily, throughout your day, in the morning, at night, afternoon, whenever, contemplate your vision and feel yourself getting excited and believing in it. It's really important. And you'll notice that in VBA, 2 of them are mindset, visualization and belief. Those are kind of mindset, emotional states. Those aren't physical actions. Those are something that happens internally. Only the 7 habits are external actions that you're doing. Crucial, but we got to get the mindset right. We got to believe that we're capable of doing this, and we got to have an exciting vision that compels us forward. The vision is what's going to make you motivated and inspired to move forward. You're going to hold on to that vision, and you're going to walk towards it. So that's the important part. All right, so we've got visualization, we've got belief. Next, get into the nitty-gritty here with the habits. And I'll make future videos expanding on these habits, but I really just kind of want to list them out and touch on each one briefly so that you know sort of what to expect in this plan. If you want to follow this plan, what's involved with the plan. Okay, so these are daily habits, daily actions that I recommend for anybody who wants to maintain a healthy weight, lose weight. All right, so remember, small steps approach can lead to success. So maybe you don't start doing all 7 of these habits at once. Maybe you pick a couple and you slowly work towards building them. Then you pick the next few and slowly work towards building those. Use baby steps if you need to. You don't have to launch into all 7 at once tomorrow. That being said, either review this video or maybe take some notes on this. I'll put them in the description, but let's get to the first one. Portion control. On the internet, it seems like some people disagree that, calorie counting is necessary. I come from the calorie school. I think it's thermodynamics and physics and, biochemistry. I believe in the calorie, okay? So what you're trying to do with portion control is create a slight calorie deficit. And you got to find your number to do that. So I know with the amount of activity that I get, the size of my body, my basal metabolic rate, all of those things, my number that I shoot for is typically somewhere between 2,000 and 2,200 calories when I'm losing. If I'm in a maintenance phase, I go up 300, 400, 500 calories to maintain weight. But if I'm losing, I want to create that deficit. And you just keep that consistent deficit going over time. But that's the portion control. If you have excess weight, you're likely beyond your daily calorie budget, if we want to think of it as a calorie budget, and you got to kind of rein that in. So when I first started losing weight, 5 years ago, when I lost that big chunk of weight, I lost 130 pounds. I slowly started eliminating items at the drive-thru. So if I was going to McDonald's, if I would typically get a burger, a McChicken, a fries, and a McFlurry. I know, it's a lot, but if I was going to do that, maybe the next time I'd cut out the fries or I'd cut out the McFlurry. And then a couple weeks later, I'd get down to just one of the sandwiches. So slowly stepping into reducing your consumption. So portion control, essential. I don't think there's any way around it. Maybe there is. Even if you're not counting calories, which I tend to do, I use a tracker. But if you're not, having established meals, 200 calories here, 300 calories there, 800 there, and that adds up to your number, right? All right, so the portion control. The next one, protein target. This has been crucial, not only for muscle retention, but also satiation. You'll find that if you hit a certain amount of protein each day, you're less hungry. For me, my minimum, I try to get, it's 150 grams. You'll see this 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body mass. You'll see that number floating around. I kind of stick to a minimum of 150, and I'm probably getting on average 160, 170. That's what I'm trying to get. Keeps me satiated, supports my muscle building in the gym, and it's tasty. I do like meat. I do eat meat, and I do have a protein shake typically, although I'd like to be able to eat just whole foods if I could get all my protein sources, which takes me to my third habit. Mostly whole foods. Now, this is the quality piece of the diet. Portion control is your quantity. Whole foods are your quality. So I do try to limit processed foods to the extent that I can. I'll have a protein shake. Sometimes I'll have deli meats in a sandwich or in a bean bowl or something. But one of the main reasons for this is whole foods contain more vitamins and minerals that are essential for you, whereas processed foods have been stripped of a lot of those micronutrients that you need. So I try to get most of my diet to come from whole foods. Also, it seems like processed foods, you kind of burn through them quicker and then you're hungry again. So there's sort of a hunger component to that too, okay? And then our last sort of diet piece here is water. I'm not going to give you a set water goal. I drink probably around a gallon a day, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but I do carry a water bottle with me most places. I'm sipping on it, and I'm trying to stay hydrated, but also manage hunger. So sometimes you'll find that you're not hungry, you're just thirsty. And if you were drinking some water and staying hydrated, you wouldn't have those cravings potentially. So water has a important role in the diet as well. Okay, so just to review, our first four: portion control, protein, mostly whole foods, and water. The next one, number 5, is the fun one, and that's daily activity. So that's movement each day. Now, I will say at a minimum, go for a walk each day. When I lost like the first 50 to 60 pounds back in 2020, I was just walking. Gyms were closed because it was during the pandemic, so I wasn't going to the gym. I was walking outside, and I walked, for half hour a day, then an hour a day, then an hour and a half a day, and I couldn't get enough of it. You could put a podcast on and do what I call learning and burning. Just get a walk every day, if nothing else, and then kind of build off of that. There's a lot of people who suggest going to the gym and lifting weights. Resistance training, which I believe strongly in resistance training. I love lifting weights. That's fun for me. Mixing in different forms of cardio, maybe, but just being active, daily activity. Maybe you want to rock climb, or you want to rollerblade, or you want to dance or something. Just find a fun way to move. I sometimes refer to it as the recess mindset, where you want to find something that excites you to go do. I'm excited to go to the gym. I like taking walks. I like to mix it up. I like to go on rucks, which is where you put a heavy backpack on and go for a walk. Sort of a combination strength training and walking, but those are good. So 5, daily activity. And again, we'll expand on these in the future, but I want to lay it out. 6, adequate sleep. And I don't have a number for you specifically. A lot of the research shows somewhere between 6 and 9 hours a night. If you're getting 2 or 3 hours, you probably need to get some more sleep. And what I have found on days when I don't sleep enough, if I only get 4.5 hours, the next day I'm hungrier. There's some kind of hormonal response that we'll dig into in future videos, but sleep can help you manage your hunger, interestingly enough, as well. So you gotta try to get some adequate rest. If you're losing weight, if you're getting to the gym, if you're more active than you've been in the past, you're gonna want to get your rest. Personally, I'm trying to shoot for 7 or 8. I'm typically 6.5, 7, so I'm almost there. And when I get better is when I really nail in my bedtime. If I get in bed, I turn off the lights, put down the phone, turn off the TV, try to get my sleep, and then wake up refreshed, ready to go. And then the last one, this is a hard one, guys. This is a hard one. Alcohol and refined sugar. You gotta try to limit those. I'm not gonna say eliminate those. I'm gonna say limit those. Treat them as treats. These two substances, alcohol, beer for me, I love beer. I'm not really a wine guy, I'm more of a beer drinker. Beer, and then when it comes to refined sugar, cookies and ice cream, and I guess you name it, I love sugar. So limiting these things and not just having it on a random Tuesday just because. Maybe you make it that you only consume this stuff on special occasions or, once a week for your cheat day, whatever it might be. But, if you consume alcohol and or refined sugar in too high amounts, it's going to lower your inhibitions and you're more likely to binge on other foods and feel a little lazy, and it can have these cascading metabolic issues, and overconsumption of these just isn't great unless you're lifting a lot of weight, you got a ton of muscle mass, and it fits within your caloric budget. I have found that I get better results when I limit alcohol and I limit sugar, which is hard. I mean, it's a sacrifice. I enjoy those a lot. And I think that's kind of a hidden truth here, is there are some sacrifices involved. Portion control, you can't just eat unlimited amounts of food and expect good results. You're going to have to sacrifice those excess calories. Beer and donuts, you can't always eat beer and donuts and expect the best results. So there are sacrifices involved here, which is why your healthy vision, we talked about in step 1, vision, that has to be as compelling as the fun, unhealthy vision. If you have your healthy vision and your fun vision, which is sitting around eating donuts, drinking beer, eating pizza, never going to the gym, something over here in this healthy vision has to be more compelling. You got to be like, oh, I'm so excited to get to rock climb again or hike or do jujitsu or whatever it is. I got to be excited about it because it has to compel me more than the unhealthy vision. Work with yourself here. So remember to implement this plan. If you are on the path of wanting to lose weight and you want some kind of a plan, visualize, believe, and act. And how you're going to act are those 7 habits: portion control, protein target, whole foods, water, daily activity, adequate sleep, and limiting alcohol and refined sugar. So in the next video, we'll go a little bit more into vision, but I wanted to kind of lay out my plan. This is the plan that I do. So if you wanted to take action on a plan, might as well take action on this one. I think it's a solid plan. It's worked out for me. So Godspeed on all your future endeavors, man. Take care.
Do do dee 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 do 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 dee 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 ah 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 oh 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 do dee 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 pa 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 pa.